Hey, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about how you can use our CSS framework and how it can speed up your website building process. First, you can find all about this framework on this page, and also here you can download the file. If you scroll down, you will find all the classes we are using in this framework. There aren't much of them, so I think it will be easy for you to memorize all of them. Let's jump to Bricks Builder Editor. Just make sure that you have the settings already. If not, just check our video about it, and I think it is pretty straightforward, so you will be done quickly. Okay, so first I want to talk about the grid system. This framework offers up to 6 columns for grid system. Here you can find it under the grids filter and under desktop viewport filter. We have up to 6 columns, as I said, so we can try it here. So let's add a section. Just add a class to this container. Let's say I want 4 columns, so I'm going to type w grid and it's 4, so here. And inside this container I want to add a block. Okay, see, now this block is like like inside this grid, and we can try it and add some content. Let's add some heading, some text, and yeah, okay, so we have some text and some heading. And I'm just going to add to copy this block 4 times. Like this, we have 4 columns. If you want to add some gap between them, you can use a gap class. It can be found here. We have 6 steps, so from S to XXXL. So let's say I want to add gap XL. Okay, so like this, my blocks have a gap between them. Okay, alright, so now let me show you how you can make it responsive. I want, for example, to break it to 2 columns on a tablet viewport. Okay, to do that you can use this class. Go to grids, select tablet viewport, which is 991 pixels and less, and find a grid class. Grid here. We want it to be 2 columns, so it's like it's almost the same class, but we have letter L as it like represents the tablet viewport. So just copy it and add this to this container, add this class. Now you see that it is breaking down to 2 columns. Okay, and like this we can continue to mobile landscape, and for the mobile we have W grid, and the letter is M, and number of column is 1. So like this it will turn to 1 column on the mobile. Okay, if I check it here, you will find that it's here. Yes, it's the same class I just add here. Okay, and let's go back to desktop. Let's say I want it heading 3, heading 4. Okay, so let's say I want to move this second block on the tablet to the first place. How to do that? First, you need to take it to the first column, but also to a first row. To do that, you can use our column start position and column and row start position. And so first let's go with column start position, and it's for tablet viewport, right? So, and we want it to be on the first column, so let's copy this class. Let's add it to this block, to second block. Now you see that it starts on the first column, but we want it to be also on the first row. So let's go and grab this row start position, and here is class for that. So let's just paste it here. Alright, so now our second block is on the first place, and if I go back to the desktop, it will be back to a second place. Like this, you can change the position of your blocks, and you can use different like viewport and change the position as much as you want. Okay. Alright, so let's go back. These are the classes for one more thing. If you want to change the sizing of your columns, like let's say you want the first column to be size of 2 columns, you can use column sizing classes. Let's say we want it on the desktop. I want the size of 2 columns, so it's like WColSpan2 class. So let's just add it to our first block here, and like this it will be a size of 2 column. All right. And what about if you want it to be a size of 2 rows? Like it will be like this, and this grid will be stacked here. To do that, just use row sizing, and the same thing. Go to desktop viewport and copy this span of two rows. Okay, and add it to our first block. Now you see that our first block has size of 2 columns, but also 2 rows. But how to do that? That this block height will be as the content of on the right. We can use a stretch class for that, and it's like this, WStretch. Now as you hover over this block, you see that its height is now the same as the height of all of the content on the right. Okay, so this is a stretch. But if you don't want it to be like that, but if you want to align on the center, you can use a different class, and it's here in the alignment. Let's say on the desktop I want to align to the center, so it's align item center, and like this block will be aligned to the center. All right. So these are grids and alignments, and now I want to talk about flex. Okay, so let's just remove this and let's add a new container, and let's say I want to create an icon button. Let's say let's add a div inside this container. Okay, and let's add the icon inside this div, and also I need to add a text. Okay, icon text. All right. Now I want it to be in the row, so basically just type WFlexRow, and it will be like this in a row. And we can use the alignment to a center, like view align at items. Here it's already here, so the text will be centered with the icon. And I want also to add some gap between them, so we can use a gap class, like gap M, for example. Okay, and one more thing, if I want to change the position of the icon and the text, let's say on the tablet, I can use a class of flex row reverse. So you can go to tablet desktop and you can use this flex row reverse class. If I use this here on the tablet viewport, it will switch the place of the elements inside this div. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, so something is not right here. Let me check it out. Okay, so the issue is solved. It was something inside the CSS file, so now it should be fine. Let's go back to our tablet portrait viewport, and let's add flex row a reverse here. Okay, so now it should switch the place, you know, of the icon in the text. All right, and like this you can play around with the position of those elements inside this div. Okay, and also if I go back to the to our class list, you can play also with the alignments, you know, of those elements inside this flex. So for example, if you don't want it to be centered, but you want it to be like, for example, on the at the bottom of this div, you can use the w align items and end. Like this, it will be at the end of this div. Okay, so yeah, these are flex classes. Now let's see what we have there over there. Then we have classes for margins and also for paddings. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Let's remove this and let's add some heading and some text here. Let's say I want to add some padding to this container, so just type, you know, to w padding and the size of this padding, let's say XL, and now this container has a padding from all sides. But if you want a specific, you know, padding from some side, like w padding, and let's say from the left side, so left, and the size of it will be XL. So like this, we have padding left XL here. Okay, and the same goes for margins. Then we have few classes for the font styles. It's pretty simple. We have just font wave and one class for white text color. Okay. Also we have classes for width. You can use a full width class. It will make, you know, your block or your div full width, and also you can use classes for, you know, smaller size, like it will be like calculated from your maximum viewport, which in our case is 1280 pixels. Okay, so based on that, it will like calculate the size of some div. Let's say I want this container to be just the half of this of the viewport size. So let's add a w width, and the half is 50. Okay, so let's add width 50. Okay, so it's not happening somehow. Oh, I forgot that we cannot do this for a container, because as you can remember, container has settings here in the theme setting. It has a width of 100% and its maximum width is 1280 pixels. But if we add this class, it will change its maximum width, which is wrong, and we don't want that. So we can add those width classes only to blocks or div. So let's add a block inside this, and let's put a content inside this block, and let's say I want this block to be half of this container. Okay, so let's add it again with 50. Now it should work. Okay, see, so now it scales, you know, to the 50% of a maximum viewport. So if I check it on the front end here, you can see that this is the container and this is the block, and its size is 640 pixels, and you know that our container is 1280, right? So it's like the half of this container, and etc. and etc. You can use those width classes here. As for font sizes, we have just 6 steps from S to XXXL. Same same as spacing. So if you want this heading to be to have a tag h3, but you want it to be big as h1, just use a class font size and xxxl, and it will be big as h1, for example. Okay. Then we have our spacings. In case that you don't want to use gap, because like not all of the browsers or all the devices are supporting gaps, but now I believe that they are, but like just 2 or 3% of them are still not. So you can use our spacing, and it has like 100% support, so it's fine. So let's say I want to add our spacing to this block. So let's go and check it out. We have 6 steps or 6 sizes. So let's add our XL, for example. See, so now we have a gap between those elements, and I can add more, and there will be also a gap here like this. Okay. Yes, so those are this is like pretty everything we have in our CSS framework. You can see that it's pretty simple, and it doesn't do much, so it just helps you with the basics like the layouts and spacings and font sizes, and that's it. That's all it does, and I believe that this is enough for you, because if you need something more advanced, you can always add a custom class. For example, if I have a custom card, let's call it a custom card, let's add a class like this, and you can you can integrate our the variables for spacing and font sizes. So let's say you want this block to have some padding. Let's say I want it to be space XL. So let's add a variable like this, var space XL. Now you can see that something is already happening here on the top. So let's just link it with all the sizes, all the sides. So now we have a padding of XL size for all the sides of this block. Okay, and like this you can integrate with our spacing variables. Also same for font sizes. If you have some custom heading, let's say custom heading, okay, you can style it like whatever you want, and if you want to add a font size, you just need to type a variable here, var font size, and use a size you want. So let's say S, or let's say XL, yeah, whatever you want, and you can use this custom class wherever you want. And that's it. That's pretty much what our framework do. And now I'm going to build something, like real quick, so you can see like the power of this framework. So let's build let's say 2 columns a hero section with 2 columns. Okay, and let's say, so first just add a section. In this container I am going to add a grid2 class, and inside this container I'm going to add a block. Okay, and inside this block I'm going to add a heading. It will have a h1 tag, because we have a hero section. So okay, I'm going to keep this text. I'm going to add also some text, let's say rich text, or alright, and I'm going to add button. Okay, oh wait, something is happening. Okay, yeah, back. Let's add some more. Let's copy it here like this. Okay, So we have our left side here, and now I want to add some gap between those elements. So let's add a gap XL, for example. Now on the second side, I am going to add a block as well. I'm going to add an image. Okay, let's select some image. So let's use this placeholder image. All right. I want to have some gap between them, so let's add a gap to this container. Let's say XXL, and I want this text to be aligned to the this content to be aligned to the center of this image. So let's add align items center class like this. Okay. Here I want two buttons, not just one. So I'm going to add. I'm going to wrap this button with a block. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this, and I want it to be this block to be in a row. So it's flex row. I want it to be a gap M like this. In case that some of the button, is like larger like this. So you can use a class stretch, so the height will be like the same. So I can use the stretch here like this. Okay, so the button heights are the similar. And one more thing, I want, if you have like more buttons here, okay, and you want it to be to break in a column like automatically, you can use a WPExplorers wrap like this. If I go to a smaller screen, it will break automatically based on the on the space they are taking. So like this, it will break automatically. All right. And also I want this to break into one column on the mobile landscape. So let's click on this container. Let's add W create M and to 1, so number 1. Like this, it will break to one column. And one more thing, I want to change the order of this when it breaks down. I want this image to be on the first place. So let's click on this block, and let's add W. Let's add call start M1. Oh, sorry, it's not like a column. We want it to start on the first row, not a first column. Okay, so it's like W row start M, M for for the mobile viewport, and 1. All right, so like this, our image is on the first place on the mobile viewport, and it will be like this also on the small screens. And if I go back, it will be like this. And like this, my hero section is done. I just need to to do a few stylings for the buttons or headings. But like this, the layout is done, and it's responsive. Okay, so that's how you can use our framework to speed up your process, and I believe that it will help you a lot. Okay, so it was fun talking to you. Have fun building websites, and see you in the next video.